Auburn's portal entries are stacking up, but how do we feel about who's going? Welcome on into the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport. I'm your host, Mike G. Turn us on, turn us up. We'll turn it out. I'm here with my good friend Kyle Rush from the barn to talk a little Auburn football here on a Tuesday morning. I was out sick yesterday, but Ike Jones and C-Dub did a great job bringing you the content that you love the most. We're going to try to keep it going here on a Tuesday. Kyle, the background may be falling apart, but I promise you we got it together here at the Auburn Express.
Let's go.
On today's show, we're going to talk about some portal entries. Who's in the portal? How do we feel about each one? We'll go down the list. And then after the break, we'll come back and talk about the work that Alex Golesh is going to have to do in the portal. Again, Kyle, some names are starting to stack up a little bit. Taylor Korn, who works over with the barn, has done a good job keeping us updated. Shout out Taylor. Go follow her on Twitter at TaylorKorn_. That's Korn with a K. She does great work for you guys, but she's keeping us informed on who's in and who's out. And I want to start at the top here and work our way down Taylor's list of names, and then I want to take your temperature on each portal entry. Some of these we'll spend a little bit more time on than others, but on the official Taylor Korn portal tracker, first on the list is Jackson Arnold. Not new news, but he is in the portal. This is to be expected, right? Like, yeah. I don't think there's any room for him on Alex Golesh's roster here. He's got some years of eligibility left to play, but he's going to have to play them someplace else. Maybe underutilized. Well, I don't want to say he's underutilized because he definitely got to play, but he didn't play well in the Hugh Freeze system. But I would argue nobody played well. I still think he has a future at football. Just has to find that right coach that can develop him and use him in the best way. But you're not shocked by Jackson Arnold hitting the portal, are you?
No, I think the most shocking thing is that he's on the list after as much as we got, excited and were sold, I guess, that he was going to be the answer. And I think probably you is just as guilty as I am as convincing yourself that I guess Hugh Freeze could overcome, what we saw, like the glaring things that we saw last year that Oklahoma people tried to tell us about, that a lot of the same issues just kind of showed their head. And I'm not trying to remove blame from the staff. Like, they obviously didn't do him any favors either. So, like I said, the only thing shocking is that he's on the list because of what happened this past year. I just really thought you might actually get one right this time.
Yeah. Next on Taylor's list is one of the more recent portal entries. That's Malcolm Simmons, the part of the original Freeze for a top 150 guy. He hits the portal. Talk to me about Malcolm Simmons, man. I had high hopes for him athletically. He clearly is gifted on the football field. However, he's not a guy that doesn't come with some level of off the field stuff. Hugh Freeze talked about his inability to maybe absorb the system 200 miles an hour, but sometimes doing the wrong thing. I think that while talented, he's a guy that maybe you can say is not going to be a good fit for what they're trying to build culturally here at Auburn moving forward.
Maybe culturally, but I don't think there's anybody that could benefit more than Malcolm in this new system. Mm-hmm. How can you not make Malcolm a wide receiver? How can you only come up with a way to use him as a gadget guy? Like that to me, he was one of the very few that I felt like could do anything all the way across the line, inside, outside. And like the only way we could get him the ball was jet sweeps and tunnel screens and halfback passes and crap like that. And it's like, then you turn around and you watch what he does in the Alabama game, where all you did was you turn around and you threw him like a little dig route and he takes it 80 to the house.
Yeah.
Or, a scramble drill that he ends up breaking free and running for, what was it, 60, 70-yard touchdown? Like, I don't understand that whole situation. And I think Malcolm probably made up his mind before the new staff was even hired. It was he couldn't, to me, separate the Auburn from the staff. So it was like, Auburn failed me, So I got to get out. I feel like I got to get out of Auburn. I got to get done with Auburn. I could be way wrong about that, but it just seemed like this decision was made on the front end. And I think of everybody that's gone in the portal so far, that one to me hurts the most. Not so much just being like wanting him to do good at Auburn, but I just think he had the opportunity to probably explode more than anybody in this new offensive system that's about getting you in space, going fast, getting the ball out to your playmakers quickly. That's to me is the recipe for Malcolm for just big time production.
Yeah, look, I think he'll land somewhere big. I think what he'll find is, though, the penchant that other teams have for dealing with your off the field bullshit is going to be a lot lower. So get it together, young man, and just make it about football.
Especially if it's Indiana or Florida, like neither one of those guys sound like they put up with much.
And coaches talk. Kyle, coaches talk.
Oh, yeah.
So you won't be able to escape some of the stuff, right? Famously, last season, he had some off-the-field stuff. Charges were dismissed and all things, but you still made decisions that put yourself in a position for that stuff to become a problem for you. Decision-making as a young man headed into adulthood, it's so important that these guys understand that the decisions you make and the people that you keep around you will have a lot to do with how far you go in life. So wish Malcolm Simmons the best. I wish he could have done more here. The next person on Taylor Corn's list, Perry Thompson. This is the one that made me a little sad because he's a good kid.
Yeah, he is.
Perry Thompson is a great kid. He is a talented guy, but
the opposite of off the field.
Right. I mean, just
as
everything
Malcolm.
You wanted. I am putting his lack of production and development, though, on the staff. After Freeze got fired, when we saw how much these guys could do in just 3 games offensively, producing more offense in 3 games than we saw in the previous 6 SEC contests, wild here.
Yeah,
Perry Thompson hits the portal. Your level of disappointment here, 1 to 5. This one's at a 4.5 for me, man. I wish that they could have found a way to keep him here and let him realize his athletic potential at all.
Yeah, he's at least a 3.5 to 4 to me. Like the storyline in and of itself would have been incredible if you could have the first real flip out of Foley from Alabama and then making it work. He's a bigger guy, which is what Hugh Freeze wanted. I wonder about the quick twitch in space and how maybe that would have fit in this system. To me, he needs to be body on body with just taking that 6'3", 225-pound frame and just abusing defensive backs. And maybe that just is not necessarily what this system's doing. I don't know. I really hate that they couldn't make that one work. That one's up there too. There's an emotional attachment to Perry because he's such a good kid, man.
Yeah, look, he's going to do great things wherever he goes. I can't wait to see him play someplace else. Hopefully not in the SEC, though, man. Go tear up the Big 12
Miami?
or something.
Miami, maybe?
No, go to UCF.
Okay.
Yeah. I can continue to cover him, but again, extremely talented kid. Hope he lands somewhere great. Horatio Fields is next on the list here, another wide receiver. Now, they brought him in from Wake Forest. He famously started over Perry as soon as he got here. But
it was good.
Yeah, I think he did pretty well. I was in the camp, though, that I didn't feel like he did so much better that it was necessary to even bring him in and then start him over Perry. Auburn spent a lot of money at wide receiver for these guys to get so little opportunities. Talk to me about Horatio. I can tell you, he was one of the guys that has hit the portal that was very professionally and nicely shown the door.
Yeah.
In terms of you don't really fit what we're trying to do here. So
I think he's just a little bit slower version of what we just talked about with Perry as far as fit goes. But another one, man, 5-star kid, 5-star guy. I don't think he was an issue whatsoever. And honestly, the offense kind of, took a little bit of a dip whenever he hurt his foot. It's like they couldn't figure out what to do as far as that big receiver goes, which I can't really understand that. But I hate it because he's a good kid. I just don't know how he fits in this new system.
Yeah, same here. Moving down the list here, we got a lot of names to get through. Wide receiver Cameron King. Now, he was a walk-on. There was a unique roster situation that they're having to clean up here that was left by the previous staff. Now, with the rule change in terms of roster limits and the 105, doesn't matter, like, those walk-ons count toward your 105. And it's putting Auburn in an uncomfortable position to have to tell some guys who maybe, started as walk-ons or earned scholarships that, look, man, we need your spot.
Yep.
We need your spot for a guy who will compete at some point to be first string. So Cameron King may be a little bit of a victim of that.
Yeah. No disrespect whatsoever. This is not meant to be personal. One of the first times I've heard this kid's name ever.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't have a ton of feelings one way or the other. Wish him the best.
Yeah, look, again, I hope he lands someplace where they will actually utilize him, and he's got a future here. Like I said, this is kind of the cruelty of the roster limit change, I think. And a lot of coaches pushed back against this and said, look, man, you can't eliminate walk-ons, man. We need our walk-ons. And there's some great stories that have come out of that. Next on the list is Damari Alston, a guy who redshirted himself mid-season. I think given how the season ended for Hugh Freeze, more people understand this than not at the time.
Yeah.
And, you hard to argue what he did in hindsight. Seeing as how the coach got let go. But he was another guy, I think, that maybe lost faith in how things were being run and said, look, man, I still want to play football. I've got a limited time to get tape, and I'm just not going to burn another year of eligibility here in what looks like a lost cause of a season.
Yeah. And, that on top of that, he got banged up, and Jeremiah Cobb exploded too. So that wasn't a good mixture. So wish him the best. I'm not necessarily that concerned about losing him. I think he could, his talent level could be replaced fairly easy. Leadership may be tough to replace. But again, bad mixture of timing, injury, and then Jeremiah Cobb finally arriving as that feature guy, which I think he's going to continue to be.
Yeah. Moving down our list here, tight end Hollis Davidson hits the portal. The tight end room was under fire.
Good. It's in shambles. It's an absolute
it was in shambles before this, and it was in shambles last year. It's been in shambles for a while. I hate it because Coach Ben is a very, very nice guy, but I can tell you his room has not played well, and I still will die on this hill. They let the best tight end they had walk out the door in Michael Riley.
Yes.
I couldn't understand. Every time they put him in the game, the kid scored a touchdown, and they just let him walk out the door for a bunch of guys who can't catch.
Yeah.
I think Rivaldo Fairweather was extremely underutilized. I thought he would be a lot better here. Talk to me about Hollis Davidson and tight end.
Look, he had bad luck. He got hurt like really, really quickly when he got here, and then he got into some I think he got into some off the field stuff, that doesn't help when you're trying to come back from an injury. And it felt like he never really got out of the doghouse. So thought he had potential, thought he could be that big receiving threat. He had some wheels and he had some size, but just didn't pan out. So I liked him when we picked him up, but just kind of is what it is.
Ryan Strader. Did I say that right? Ryan Strader?
I think it's Ryan.
Ryan Strader. Cornerback hits the portal here. The defensive backs, man, probably one of the more disappointing position groups because we thought they would be a strength. And they ended up really not being here. But you see,
everybody behind Jay Crawford struggled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be able to replace him along with Amon Lane Gaines. He hits the portal at defensive back.
He just never had any luck whatsoever injury wise. He was actually committed. He committed to Harsin and stayed through to Hugh, and he just, it was like injury after injury. Cool story, everything about him. That's another one. I'll tell you what, there's other than a handful, there's some pretty high character guys that were on this list that just, just couldn't get it done physically, but off the field, they were just model
Great.
citizens.
Yeah, great students, great student athletes. Just man, look, you're gonna have when you have high profile recruiting, you're gonna have some high profile busts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, right? And we maybe don't talk about it enough, but it does happen. Moving down the list, Antonio Coleman, D lineman, is out. He is in the portal along with linebacker Caleb Wheatland. Now Wheatland was a transfer from Maryland.
Yeah,
he had a lot of snaps that he brought in with him, but didn't contribute. Obviously, Xavier, Atkins,
Elijah Melendez, Bryce Diaz, all my young bucks just went off this year. I need them all back. I need all my linebackers back
for a position group that really wasn't getting a ton of the preseason.
We had question marks going into the season.
They outshined a lot of people here. Again, look, I don't want to be as far as Antonio Coleman is concerned. I get it. Caleb Wheatland, I get why you bring him in, but high level recruiting, man, wins every single time. I think that he was always maybe meant to be kind of a depth piece, and then with the way Xavier Atkins, who transferred in, played. Now I got to eat some crow on Xavier.
Now all of us do, buddy.
I did not think that he was not good. I just did not know that he was that good.
Oh, you didn't think he would lead the SEC in tackles for loss? I tell you what, guilty.
Not only was he good for Auburn, he was historically good, man.
Yeah, he was so
he
good.
Went out and ate in the SEC this year. He was Auburn's only player to make first team all SEC in anything.
It's crazy.
Come on, man. Xavier Atkins, young man, I apologize. I was unfamiliar with your game, but I will eat as much humble pie on this as I have to say that guy, he's not, I don't think he's getting in the portal, but boy, let me tell you something. With these, we're talking about Wheatland hitting the portal, not hard to understand that, he's got a lot of eligibility left in front of him, does Xavier Atkins, and you've got a lot of talent there, and Auburn should be good at linebacker if these guys stick around.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He's one of the only ones. He's one of the very few on the team that I think are not replaceable. Like you will not be able to go find another one in the portal.
No,
you do whatever you can to keep him. And I think we're good there. He's going to be a stud next year.
Cut the check.
Sign the check.
Cut the check for Xavier. I'm openly advocating for him to get paid. Finishing off our list are a trio of awesome offensive linemen: DeAndre Carter, Favor Edwin, and Seth Wilfred, all hitting the portal. Talk to me, Mal, about this offensive line here. Obviously, DeAndre Carter was a highly heralded guy coming in. I believe the number one offensive lineman in California when he committed, right?
Yeah. A 4-year starter at Mater Dei High School, which is incredible.
Yeah, just another one.
I think he was a
great guy getting out of here before he can become a star.
So I think DeAndre was probably out of those three, DeAndre, Favor, and Seth. I think DeAndre was the only SEC player in that group. But I don't know that I think DeAndre was going to be great, but I don't know that DeAndre's talent and his value align very well. Like his idea of what his value were aligned very well. Fair. So this is one where I think he could have been a great player, but for whatever reason, I don't think they could make I don't think they can make the money work.
Yeah,
there. So and there, it seems like that's kind of a theme. There's a lot of guys that are in a little bit of sticker shock at maybe the value that they're being given based on their lack of production. So this is one that I think in a perfect world you keep him and he's a good piece down the road, but not at what you had to pay to keep him, I guess.
Yeah, not a lot to say about the other two. Which takes us to our break. On the other half, I think we're going to stick with that position group and talk about rebuilding the offensive line this offseason for Alex Golesh. They've got work to do, Kyle. Let's get to the break here. This episode of the Auburn Express is brought to you by our friends at Abel's Iron More and Associates. Kyle, You don't need a big balance to get big advice at Abel's I Know More Associates. There's no minimum to start, and your initial portfolio review is completely complimentary. Whether you're just starting to invest, a do-it-yourself investor, or in the final stages of planning for retirement, Amos Fiduciary Advisors will meet you where you are. No sales pitch, no pressure, just honest guidance. Call AIMA at 912-777-4128. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit AIMAINC.com. It costs nothing and could change everything. The War Rapport has been compensated by Abel's I Know More Associates for this endorsement. Abel's I Know More Associates is a SEC registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. I want to thank our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. That's on Highway 431, right across the street from Chattahoochee Valley Community College, next to the Renfro Supermarket and the Marcos Pizza. If you're in the Columbus, Phoenix City area and you're looking to get fresh for the weekend, the Vibe Vault is the place for you, I promise. My guy, Steve Watkins, serving up beard trims, lineups, fades, nasty fades. I'm telling you, this is the place to go get a cut. The Vibe Vault, not just barbers, lifestyle consultants. I want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORTER to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop potentially has something that has you covered. If you've got some traditional ailments that could require some non-traditional remedies, well, the Rogue Shop is a great place to go take a look. Visit them again at rogueshop.com and make sure you use code REPORT so they know the War Rapport sent you. Let's jump back into our conversation here. Offensive line. You need to be able to control both lines of scrimmage in this conference, but Auburn has failed spectacularly at pass protection the last few years for a while now. And run blocking has been okay to good. Pass protection has been okay to bad. And they've got to find how to be
just average,
better.
How about average.
Yeah, here, right? Yeah, they've got to figure out how to be good to better, I think, man, eventually. But you and I have talked about this repeatedly. There are not a ton of just really, really good linemen hitting the portal. Like, offensive lineman is one of those positions where no matter what's going on around you, you can just block the dude in front of you.
Yeah.
And go pro. So,
yeah.
If you're big and strong and you're holding your blocks, why jump?
I don't understand why across 3 staffs now, the emphasis on high school recruiting is just not there, has just not been there. I don't really –
For offensive line?
For offensive line. I just don't really understand that. Like, that it's not just a Hugh thing. It was a Harsin thing, and it was a Gus thing for a long time. Like, why did you think that you could just get by not recruiting the trenches? You look at the playoff teams last year, I think in the Final Four, out of 20 offensive linemen, I think 18 of them were recruited out of high school, like from those particular schools. This year, even Indiana has 3 homegrown offensive linemen that were there for the previous staff, and then one guy that Signetti brought in that's the second-year starter. Like, that's just kind of the recipe for success. You got 5 offensive linemen in this class with a big-time offensive tackle. You just flip Bear McWhorter, who I've talked to several people that know offensive linemen that say there's not a single offensive lineman on this roster right now like that kid as far as intensity goes. Just playing mean like an old-school offensive lineman. May not be the most gifted, but he may be the meanest. So that's just the kind of thing I think Auburn's got to get back to. Like, them old Tuberville offensive linemen, man, he would take defensive linemen, mean defensive linemen, and turn them into guards, just steamroll people. And I think Auburn's got to get back to that. And I hope that it's going to take some time, though. You're going to have to put some Band-Aids on it right now with the portal because of how many people you've lost and how top heavy that line was. And I don't. I hope they can take chicken, and turn it into chicken salad, so to speak. And they're going to have to do that because they're going to have to pick some dudes from the portal, and they're going to have to evaluate like crazy to give these younger guys time to grow.
Before we get out of here, how many new starters do you see on that offensive line come fall?
If you can't keep Connor Lew, if Connor Lew decides to go pro, I think 4.
4 new. Ooh, that's a whole new offensive line.
Whole new offensive line.
Yeah, look, looking forward to seeing what Alex Golesh does. The portal opens January the 2nd, I believe, Kyle. And once it opens, it's going to be
fast and furious.
Woo, it's going to be all systems go. Will Auburn be able to put together a portal class to give them a chance to compete in the fall? We're going to be tracking it right here on the Auburn Express and at the barn. Look, we're going to get out of here, but before we do, YouTube has a new feature that we want to tell you all about.
YouTube now has a hype button just for the content you love the most. The War Rapport is delivering the coverage you count on daily, so smash that hype button to help the channel reach more college sports fans. It's a great way to support our work. Smash that hype button.
Smash that hype button and look, smash subscribe on the barn. Kyle, before we get out of here, tell people where they can find you.
Absolutely. Go to thebarnauburn.com. You can catch us there. That's our message board, or anywhere on YouTube, The Barn Auburn or The Barn Podcast Network.
Guys, that's it for another great edition of the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport. Hit the comments after the video. Let us know what you think about all the portal entries we just talked about. I bet by the time people have watched this, there will be 2 or 3 more guys announcing that they're going to the portal. So if there's somebody who we missed here, make sure you drop a comment about them as well. While you're in the comment section, do us a favor, smash that super thanks button. Your financial support helps keep the work that we're doing here going. Please hit like and subscribe. We are the War Rapport on every social media platform. TW Rapport on TikTok. We're signing off, and as always, worry.